What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fans View podcast. Usually I like to talk a little bit to you guys before the interview, but this time, full disclosure, it's 11 o'clock at night. Had some scheduling conflicts come up, and just one of those days, I'm sure you guys can all relate, one of those days where just nothing wants to go right. So I'm just going to save everything for next week, where hopefully we're going to have a special guest on for the opening. And then we'll have another fun interview as usual. But this week we're just going to get to the interview because I think it's a pretty good one. It's Torrez Finney. He's a MMA fighter out of Chattanooga currently, who's actually getting a second chance on the Dana White Contender series, which is going to be starting up, I think, next Tuesday. It might even be this Tuesday. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is this Tuesday. It's starting up. But next Tuesday, August the 20th, Torrez is going to be fighting. And like I said, it's going to be a second chance at a UFC contract, and we're really pulling for him here. So make sure you go and show him some love after you listen to this interview. I don't think you're going to have any problem with that. That's going to be available on ESPN Plus. Like I said, that's going to be Tuesday, August 20th at 8 p.m. I believe he's the second fight on the card, so it won't be a late night for those of you guys that are like me, got to wake up early for work the next morning. But like I said, this is gonna be a short, sweet intro. Hopefully, we're gonna have a guest on next week. We're gonna talk all things combat sports, MMA, wrestling, all that stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So, like I said, enjoy this interview with Torrez Finney. Make sure you go support him August 20th, 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. Enjoy the interview, guys, and I will see you next week on the Fans View. What's going on, everybody? This is Jarrett, and I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Fans View podcast. This week, I was kind enough to be joined by yet another badass. I know I had a Georgia boy on here, I think last week or the week before with Malcolm Wellmaker. But boy, I got another one for you this week, guys. I want to welcome to the show Torrez, the Punisher, Finney. Torrez, how you feeling, brother? How you doing these days?
What's up, Jared? Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the Fans View podcast, brother. And hey, great introduction, man. If I'm behind Malcolm Wellmaker, I know I'm in good company. So yeah, I'm excited to be on here. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Just like Malcolm, you got something kind of a little important coming up in about 3 weeks' time, man. How are we feeling? How's the body feeling? How's the training going heading into Dana White's Contender series?
Boy, brother is pushing it, and we are feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. Just did a hard cardio session today, beforehand, and then did another hard one in training, and yeah, brother's feeling really good. I'm clicking on all cylinders, the game plan, following the game plan, doing what I need to do to be prepared to get ready for August 20th. And a brother is more prepared than ever, man. I'm so excited and ready to go. This is just the first step, and we're about to definitely be able to showcase and show what majority of everyone that's trained with me, and show what a good bit of the world already knows. But just proving myself right. I can't wait.
I know that's right. So with the fight being less than 3 weeks out, well, right at about 3 weeks out, 3 weeks yesterday. Where are we at in the training? Are we starting to kind of try to pull it back a little bit? Make sure we don't sustain any injuries, or are we going, balls to the wall 100%?
We pull it back. Actually, this is probably going to be my last hard week. The rest is just going to be focused on cardio for the final 2 weeks. And weight. But man, I tell you, man, where my weight is right now, I'm feeling really good. So everything's going really good. Really. So I'm actually cruising a little bit, and I'm feeling like generally really good, and that's better than even last fight. Like last fight, and I can feel myself becoming more of the veteran type. Like I'm okay.
Right.
I'm understanding where I need to be as a weight cut, where I need to be during a fight camp, where I need to be throughout, and it's just going all along. And now I'm feeling good. I think I got this starting to get this thing on point, so I'm ready.
That's good to hear, man. I'm so glad to hear that. Are you doing anything different this time? Because people might not realize that you're getting a very rare second chance at Dana White's Contender series. Are you
Yeah.
doing anything differently from a mental or physical standpoint, this time around?
The only thing I'm doing different is knowing that I'm getting better. It's like this, just working on things to just to continue to stay me. But no, in the grand scheme of things, no. The goal is to always go out there and win, and I go out there to make sure I'm prepared. So doing the cardio stuff, doing the obviously the skill specific stuff, and I've been working on that the whole time. So with me, there's not much of dang, we need to change this up. No, we're not changing really much nothing up. I have progressed. I have gotten better in a lot of different areas and allowed me to focus on certain things differently. But the game plan and what we do is going to stay the same, and we're definitely getting better. And you're right, this is a rare chance, But
Yeah.
I'm also amongst that group of people that has gotten an opportunity. I know a few has gotten three, but I'm in that rare group of the guys that get two, and I'm blessed to have it. And like even Dana said last year, he's like, "We'll bring you back. We'll see you down the line." And even when people say we see you down, well, when he says we see you down the line, it's not guaranteed because whatever other fight,
Right.
some people go back on the regional scenes and take a loss. Some people go
Yep.
back and can't recover, because they can't deal with that hardship or, as I say,
Yep.
that adversity. But I didn't feel like I thought it was adversity. I went on Dana White Contender Series and got a win. I feel like that's a win. It's like, and I finished the guy. I'm about to say it's not like the fight was 3-round boring decision. I got to finish in
Right.
the second round. So like, it is what it is. But I did definitely. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I wasn't mad. I definitely thought there was a few holes in my games that I had to correct, and I've been telling a lot of people in my coaches like I feel better going into the UFC this year, way better compared to last year, because last year I was only in the game for a pro for a year and a half, and right at a year
Wow.
and a half, like it wasn't long, and I was already on the Contender Series, so I was like, man, this whole journey is going quick.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting a second opportunity. Now I'm even more prepared.
So, yeah, and I want to talk about that too, because you seem like you're in a very good headspace about it. But, you're human at the end of the day. How frustrating was it to feel like you did your job? Like you said, you finished your opponent, you won, and then Dana to still be like, it's not your time yet, Torres.
Well, you know, I I for 5 minutes, I tell people it was just only 5 minutes. For about 5 minutes, I was in a headspace. What the freak? Like, and I'm seeing there's literally was two guys on that same show got decisions. One of them lost. Like it was like 29-28. I mean, it was a close fight and different things. And like I'm saying, like, man. Now, granted, I know I didn't have the best first round, but man, Dana talks all the time about how he loves to see guys come back from adversity and show out. And I felt like I almost had a near flawless second round. But to
Right.
see that whole group get contracts and I was the only one that didn't, it about lit a fire under me. But you know what? After that, I said, well, you know what? We're going to, at least I won the fight. That's the first thing I said. I told my coach, I said, Coach, where we going to go eat at? I won the fight. I said,
That's right.
if I didn't win, he can say whatever he want to say because I didn't win. But I won the fight. And that was the main objective. And that's about controlling what you can control. And yes,
Exactly.
I could have went out there and controlled having a better performance, especially in that first round. Yes, I could have went out there and done a few things differently. But at the end of the day, the thing I can control is what? Make sure I get that win. And I did that. So
Right.
anything else, however they want to look at it from that standpoint, is all up to them. So I can't necessarily get mad or cry about it, and which I wasn't. But and I respect it, and I respect the decision, and I'm even thankful for it because it allowed me to get better. It allowed me to go dig deeper. It allowed me to go and find myself different ways and skill sets to continue to elevate my game. People look at certain things as a bad thing, but I look at it as a blessing. And man, I will say it is a blessing. I didn't get that contract on the first go. I am excited for this next one.
Man, that is such a great, great answer to be in such a positive mind space because, a lesser fighter, a lesser man would have, like you said, felt bad for himself. I did what I was supposed to do. What more do you want from me? And he could have took his ball and went home. But it seems like you're in that right headspace to come out here and really get this thing going. And I want to talk more about Dana White's Contender Series because obviously that's a big moment in your career. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to Macon, Georgia. Let's take it back to little Torrez. I'm not sure you were ever little, being that you're built like a brick house. But how did you grow up? Were you always was MMA always on your radar? Is that something that kind of came later in life?
Man, dude, yes, came way later in life. You would have never told me that Torrez Finney would have been a MMA fighter. I wouldn't believe you, not a chance in God's green earth. It was funny because I won my first state championship. I'll never forget this. There was a guy at the top, the people that do the army recruiting
Right.
tents.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
one of them guys was up there, and I think he watched my state championship match, and he as I was celebrating, I'm getting ready to go to my family and friends and everybody. He was like, "Hey man, great match." I said, "Thank you, bro." He said, "Hey, have you ever thought about MMA?" I was like, "MMA? No, I haven't thought about no MMA. No, like, man, with the way you wrestle and like your arms long and the way you build, I think you'll be a good MMA fighter." And I was like, "Yeah, that's not for me, man." He's like, "All right." Funny thing is, that was in 2015. No. Yeah, 15. That was 2015. Pro debut, February of 2022. He was there at that fight. And he said,
Wow.
"What did I tell you?" And that's 7 years later. And it's funny how some people speak things over your life. Because things like at that time, I would have never thought that I would have ever done this. And I could always see like now that I think about it, there are certain sprinkles in my life. When I was getting ready to prepare for nationals, I went to a gym in Macon called Rush MMA. And I was preparing for nationals at their gym. And I would wrestle. And then sometimes I would like play around in the cage. I would never, I was like, I'm just playing around. I ain't about to actually go ahead and fight anybody. But I always like had it in the back of my mind. I was like, what if I ever did that? What if? And then like once I actually played college football, I was like, it's not happening. But man, when COVID hit, it changed for a brother, man. I started boxing, and one of the guys at the boxing gym was like, "Man, we know you wrestle," and I did wrestle 1 year in college. They was like, "You should think about going to Gogi, man. Try some jujitsu. They have an MMA program there." And I said, "I see." And I finally went, and that first day I went, it pulled my heart. I said,
Gotcha.
"This is
Hooked
what I
you.
want to do." I instantly said, "This is what I want to do." And I even made decisions like when I graduated college, already had a planned job back at home, just turned it down. I was like, I'm going to go I just chose to work at FedEx, something to keep me sustainable so I can just
Yeah.
train here in Chattanooga and fight. And then after that, I got eventually, with all that COVID stuff, eventually I got laid off. But that's the blessing. Ever since I've been laid, I
Yeah.
got picked up by first round management, and I hadn't worked a job. Well, technically, this is my job, but I hadn't worked the job since. Like, I've been training full time, and that's been a blessing ever since. It's been a blessing ever since.
Wow, man, that is awesome. I mean, you hit two of my next questions too, because I was gonna ask you like, when did this go from like a hobby or a side thing to like your main focus? But I mean, it sounds like you you just answered that. When COVID hit, it ended up being the biggest blessing you could ask for.
Mhm.
Um, and I would be remiss. You brought up your college football career. Um, there was a little birdie that might rhyme with Schmarlo Perusa MMA that told me I have to ask about apparently there was a time where you were dabbling in football and knocking people out, maybe? Can you
Yes,
tell that story?
bro, that is very true. There was a time, right? So this is during the time where COVID has already hit. We weren't allowed to go anywhere. I would sneak out of my dorm, so I would go to football practice, and then we come back to the dorm. They would have people around the dorm looking at us. I would leave, sneak out the back of the dorm to get in my car, and drive to MMA practice to do MMA stuff. And I would stay there all day training. And I know at the time, like probably at the time, I'm like, this is dumb, but we didn't know we was gonna have a football season. So
Right.
I was doing football stuff, and that's crazy. It's so stupid. But I'm tackling and going through the workouts and running sprints and all. But I'm thinking like, okay, I'm using this stuff to get me prepared in shape for MMA. So now I
Right.
go do MMA practice and like same thing. And there was a time we had a scrimmage, and I played around 60 plays in that scrimmage. But that same night, I had a fight. It was my first amateur fight, and I left. I left the scrimmage. Well, take it back. Coach got mad at how we ended the scrimmage. So he made us run 10 100-yard sprints. And
Jesus
it was brutal.
Christ.
And I'll never forget my teammate, Devontae Maxwell. He currently plays for the Bengals now. He was like, hey, Finney, we'll vouch for you, bro, if you have to leave. And at that, I mean, since I still was on the football team and I still was doing a lot of things, I was like, man, I don't know what I feel worse, this fight or the Coach Wright. Like Coach Wright, hey, that brother would have been on me if I left out of that practice. So I finished all the sprints, ran up to the locker room, changed, went to a Gogi, got in the truck with my coach. He drove me up there. I ain't gonna lie, I slept all the way there. I slept on the sofa in the back, and I'm preparing. And I'm like, man, I wouldn't like super tired, but I was feeling a little bit like, man,
Yeah.
football practice day. Now I got to do three, average amateur 3-minute round fight. Like, man,
That's what we thought anyway.
That's what we thought. And yeah, it only lasted 11 seconds. So that's the second knockout. So we was able to
Yeah, buddy. And now, were you a fullback at that time?
Senior year, I actually started playing defensive line.
Oh my gosh! So you're playing. So you're playing 60 snaps on the line. It's not like you're a wide receiver and you could like take a play off or.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that story's even crazier coming out of your mouth than when I heard it the first time.
I know, man. And even during the fullback stuff, it's like, I was all conference fullback my sophomore year. And then, I dealt with a few injuries. Then we dealt with a few coaching changes, switching up the offense. So I told him I wanted to go back to play defensive line. And that's what I played in high school. In high school, I was a really, really good defensive lineman. Led the state of Georgia in sacks. 2-time defensive player of the year, back-to-back years. All first team, all state back-to-back years. I was 1 sack away from breaking the Georgia state record with 23.5. The record was at 24. So I was a really good defensive lineman. I think I was led top 5 in the nation for tackles as a defensive line. I had 131 tackles as a D lineman. I played nose guard. So I had a successful career in high school at defensive line because I was quick off the ball at nose guard. So I was like, man, y'all gotta let me play my position. Now I wasn't accustomed to fullback, but I was that type of guy. Like anything to get you on the field, let's go. So
that's right.
I was doing that, and it did help me eventually earn a scholarship at UTC because I did walk on. I was offered to wrestle at UTC,
right?
But the coach helped me get on the football team, and he said, whatever you're gonna do, you need to do it 100%. So I played football, walked on freshman year. Funny thing is, wrestling coach called me and said the heavyweight got hurt. If you wanted to get on the wrestling team, I said, heck yeah, get on wrestling team. Only for me to get hurt about 4 months later after. And then when I got hurt, the football coach was like, well, you can't wrestle no more because we were just giving you a scholarship from your freshman year. And I'm like, freak, so I worked hard to get back and everything paid off.
That's insanity, man. 60 snaps, hard snaps at defensive line. Then you go knock this poor dude out in 11 seconds.
Yeah. I know, man. It's wild. I know. It's crazy that I think about it. And I remember those days, man. Like, I would go through all the football practice in college ain't no easy joke. And
right.
I would go through the whole practice. Like, I'm a little fatigued. And I was like, I'm going to go train.
Those legs feel like jello.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. In that moment, I was so determined. Very similar how I feel now. I'm just so determined that I'm going to do this. And no matter how much extra stuff, and I know that if I actually had to go back and look at it, like, now I wear whoop straps and track your, how much stuff you do in one day, how much energy you use in your recovery.
Right.
My strain rating was probably super high every day.
Oh, yeah.
Football practice in 2 sessions, sometimes 3 at the gym, at a Gogi. Man, that was a lot, man. But I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, man, this is what I want to do. I'm enjoying this. It's different. It's not work when you enjoy it. When you enjoy it, you don't look at it that way.
Exactly. To be young and stupid though, because boy, I don't know if that was a great idea putting your body through that, but we got through it. We got through it. So you talked about how you got to go to college, you played football there, you started your MMA journey. Can you talk about some of the sacrifices, just in life? Because this is not a 9 to 5. This is 24/7, 365. Social life has to go to the side. Family life has to go to the side. Can you talk about some of those sacrifices?
Yeah, man. So yeah, I don't get a chance to go home much, even though I would love to. Yeah, brother don't get a chance to go home much. I'm always training. Either I'm training and traveling, or here always, or coaching sometimes. But I'm always on the go. and it's always something to dealing with MMA. And I feel like I'm in that moment of my life. You know, it's funny. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, but I'm in that moment of life where I'm grinding. I'm in that grind. You know, where from 20 to 30, you put your head down and you just go. You know, you
Right.
grind, go, go find your life, go figure it out. And I feel like I have a very supportive family that understands that. And yeah, I know sometimes they get on me for not calling. I know I need to call better. I'm sorry. But I am, but they understand I got my head down in the grind, and they're very supportive of that. And they understand that I'm they know what type of work ethic I have. They knew me ever since I was young. Like when I'm committed to something, I stay at it, and nothing holds me back from it. So because
Right.
of that, they don't get on me as much. They get on me sometimes because I'll probably go 2 or 3 weeks without me giving a phone call. Like, you need to hear something from me. They'll see me on my social medias, but we want to hear me talk, and I agree. But I'd be so committed, like training, training, training. That's all I think about. Like, or my opponent. Like, I'm always committed. So it's hard for me sometimes to not be overdone with it. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the main sacrifices, and I've been blessed. Like, yeah, I can't have the opportunity to go and do a lot of different things with my friends or game as much as I would like. I mean, I game, with my off time, but don't game as much as I like. I gotta get to bed. I got workouts in the morning at 9
Right.
a.m. There's only so much stuff that I can actually do. So,
Right.
and yeah, it's gonna take a sacrifice, but in the end, you ask the question: is it worth it? When you're in that fight and it's that third round, you're like, "Well, staying up playing that extra game worth it, or would you get in bed? Get some rest, get ready for workouts in the morning better." So, you have to
That's
play
right.
play those options in your head, man, and they always matter. They always matter.
So, I mean, we beat around the bush, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what those sacrifices are for. Let's talk about this poor fella that's gonna have a bad day in a couple weeks, Mister Cam Roston. I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
Yes, sir. Cameron Russell.
Um, how are we feeling? What are we expecting from
Roslin's a really good opponent, man. I'm excited. I love the matchup. Tall, long, rangy striker. He got solid jiu-jitsu. He does some good things. He trains out of a really formative gym out of City Kickboxing, so he has a really good background. I think he moved there around 2019. He used to be in Australia at training grounds. So he's had a really extensive career. He's done a lot of really good things throughout his career. But I just feel like this type of matchup is something that I've seen a good bit of. I know a lot of people see my height and feel like, oh, that's a big disadvantage, but they are like vastly mistaken. I mean, vastly mistaken. Like, I love the taller guys. Those type of guys. This ideal opponent is what I like. That's what I look for. Yes, I mean he can definitely pose some problems, but um, nothing that I haven't not seen before. And he like I said, he does some good things, but I definitely like the matchup and excited to see how he comes out. It's most of the time I feel like people always have to game plan for me more than I game plan for them. So we'll see what he brings to the table.
right? And obviously, we can't let all the secrets out of the bag. But what can we expect from you? Are we looking? Should we be expecting some fireworks? You standing and banging and putting this fella to sleep in the first round? Or are we looking to take him down and wrestle him a little bit?
Well, I always say whatever leads towards the win, and then sometimes that can come out through a fill out process or however he comes out. So, I'm looking forward to just finding a way to do things to be able to get the win. And I can see him, doing some things on the feet. I think again, a lot of people might be surprised about like how much better I've gotten on the feet. I definitely think some of that stuff will be showcased. But in whatever it requires on the ground. So like I said, whatever requires of me being able to go out there and get the win, I will do. But the game plan is the game plan, and he just got to see what he brings to the table. And I'm really confident, especially with the guys I've had the opportunity to train with, spar with, go live with. I'm really confident in how I'm going to be go out there and perform.
And that brings me. That is such a beautiful segue for me to ask you my last question about the Contender series. What's different about Torrez Finney this time around than the last time?
Confidence, confidence. As crazy as it sounds, yes, I was confident going into that fight last year, but it was different. Um, not necessarily the setting, but just man, you're here. And I got into a mode, especially that first round. I got into a mode where I just stuck in that mode, and I just like like trying to force things that's not there. And again, that comes from experience. We have to slowly get better. That's why I tell people I want more fights. I want to continue to be more active. But it was hard for me on the regional scene to get fights. So I had to do what I had to do. So
I can't imagine why.
that's the thing. So it was hard for me to get fights. So I had to do what I had to do. And, and I felt like I learned a lesson in that fight. And it grew. I grew from that fight. I think a lot of times, people see the bad in things all the time, but they never see the good. I grew from that fight. I was able to face adversity, come out the second round, and look like nothing even happened in the first round. Like that's the type of things you want to see. You want to like take it round. You want to be able to forget. You got to have that quick memory. We talk about that a lot in football. When you have a bad play, guess what? You got to forget about that bad play. Be on to the next play. Same thing with fighting. When there's a bad sequence, forget that sequence. We're on to the next one. There's a bad round. Okay, fine. We're on to the next one. We can't sit there and think about that what goes on in that moment. We don't only think about what's going on forward. You can't change the past. All right, you only control the present. So
that's right.
That's the reason why like I feel like now I'm even more confident going in that cage, regardless of what opponent I see, regardless of whatever somebody throws at me. I'm confident that I will have an answer for everything, and I'll be able to do it to the best of my ability. And I said, like I just said earlier in the show, I'm more confident going into the UFC this year than last year. And I'm ready to go off. I'm ready to set a stage. Let's go.
Boy, that's a scary thought. That's a scary thought. For those that want to check this out, this is going to be August 20th. That's going to be a couple weeks. It's going to be Dana White's Contender series. It's going to be available on ESPN Plus. So go ahead and get those subscriptions. Pay it up. Don't be cheap. Share it with your friends. Do something. You're going to be, I believe, the second fight on the card.
Yes,
I believe
that's where I love to be. Exactly.
That's right.
I tell people all the time. We're gonna go ahead waiting on fights. and look, and I respect it. Look, let me tell you something. I know, look, because if you're near the end, that means you're doing something good. But I hate waiting so long. A brother is ready to get in and get out. Like, I have waited 10 weeks, 12 weeks for this fight. Now, I ain't ready to wait a few more hours to get ready to fight. Once that show starts, I get a chance. I'm ready to warm up. Boom. However that first fight might go, I'm ready to step in the cage. That's the way I like it. That's the way I like it.
You got me hyped. I'm ready to run through a wall. Boy, I'm so excited to see this fight. Like I said, it's going to be August 20th, ESPN Plus. I believe it's at 8 p.m. Don't quote me. I mean, it's the age of social media. You guys have got to watch this fight. I do believe somebody's going to sleep. And I don't think it's going to be my man on the other side of this camera. So that's, the fans' view doesn't claim to be non-biased. So,
well,
and I see now this fight is going to be at 185. Is that right?
185. Yes, sir.
You're not going to need a weight vest to make weight, are you?
That's funny. Yeah. Hey, yeah. When I had to fight at,
you got to tell that story. You got to tell it,
dude. We was getting ready. I had 3 opponents pull out on me. It's the week before fight week. I needed an opponent. Matchmaker said, "Hey, we got a guy. He's a heavyweight. He said he'll fight you." I said, "Bring him on." In Tennessee, there's an extra weight class. It's cruiserweight. I didn't know that. So you can't weigh a weight class underneath another one and fight. So that means I couldn't fight. I couldn't weigh 200 pounds and fight a heavyweight because I have the 225 weight class.
So no catch weight. No
catch
like
weight.
That.
I can't skip a weight class. Yeah, and I didn't know that's a rule here. So I had to be at least 225 plus and over. So around that time, I wasn't cutting weight. So I was around like 215, 216. So I put on the weight.
Is that what you walk around at usually?
Yeah, out of camp, I'm about like 215 to 220.
Okay.
Out of camp. But when I'm in camp, because we kept having all these pullouts, and then it just started turning to catch weights at 205. I was like, well, I'm just waiting at 215. I can cut 10 pounds. But then it turned to heavyweight. I said, all right, I didn't know that. I stepped on the scale, put on the weight vest, put on a jacket, stepped on the scale, 228, baby. Hey, you got to do whatever you can to make weight because it don't matter how you step up there. I mean, I could walk around with clothes and weight vests on. It don't matter. But hey, I had to do what I had to do to make weight, and yeah, man, we made weight for heavyweight, and there we go.
That's wild. That is, you're out of your mind, sir. Out of your mind in the greatest way. All right, business is out of the way. We don't talk about whooping ass and fighting in cages. Now we're going to talk about the good stuff. This is the Fans View podcast. And I think you might know where I'm going. I know what you're a fan of outside of the cage. And boy, we're going to talk about it because in, I don't know, 3 days' time, we got this little thing that's going on in Cleveland. It's called SummerSlam.
Hey, SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about it, brother. Are we going to see the Tribal Chief? Is he coming back?
I think we are. After seeing how everybody in the family is doing, especially how they're going towards Cody Rhodes, how everything is sorting out, I think we might. Yes.
You think we see him at SummerSlam, or are we going to see him on Friday Night SmackDown?
I feel like SummerSlam, I mean, it's in Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah.
the way they're setting things up, especially how Paul Heyman has been, setting it up, I think it's going to be, I mean, what? He's been out, because he's been out since Mania. Mania was what? February?
Is it beginning of April? April, May,
right,
June,
right.
July. He's been gone a good 4 months.
Yeah, so he should be all healed up and rest. I think he should be coming back about now, because
Man,
they're going to use SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, but this is getting ready to set up whatever's about to be possible for next year's Mania. And I got a feeling that we might see, I think we're going to see him in Rock eventually. I really do.
Yeah.
I think we see him in Rock.
That's got to be the Mania match, obviously. You can't do that anywhere but Mania.
You can't, yes, you can't do that anywhere but Mania.
If I don't know how on the internet you are with wrestling, but I know they're talking like somebody's film schedule just wrapped up. So we can start building towards Survivor Series, maybe get a Bloodline War Games, just to wet the beak.
Yeah. I mean, I did see a weird comment where, what's the guy name that leads over AEW? What's his name? Can't think of his name. He's the guy that owns AEW. I can't think of his name.
Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, where he was in an interview talking about, I can easily spend some time with Triple H. He's like, I ain't got no problem doing some crossover events.
Yeah.
That would be pretty lit.
I'm telling you, man.
That would be pretty lit.
Nothing would surprise me at this point.
And
so
I think Triple H is open now. He's more open to doing things like that now because, obviously of the Vince stuff, but he's allowing things like he's now allowing wrestlers to trademark their name. They no longer is like owned by the WWE. That's really good. When people would leave the WWE, they have to change their name when they go somewhere else. When we all know who they are. It's like Edge not calling himself Edge no more when he goes to AEW. Like, come on, we know that's what we're doing. Like,
that's Edge.
That's Edge. Yeah,
that's Edge. All right, so who were some of your favorites growing up as opposed to now, maybe? Because I know you're a big Bloodline guy, but so does that mean you were always a Rock guy?
I love The Rock. Now, he wasn't my favorite, but I love The Rock. Don't get me wrong, I love The Rock. But my favorite was The Undertaker. The Undertaker was my guy. Bro, every time, like, watching wrestling, and when you're a kid, see, at that time, it wasn't like all online like it is now.
Right.
And it was like access to internet wasn't just like that, like it was when I was young. When I heard that, just watching and I hear dung, and I'm like, and I'm screaming like a kid. I'm a kid. I'm running all over the place, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Every time I hear that gong, I'm like, there he goes, and he has that presence, that aura. When he walks so slow, and like he just dude, it's so cool, man. It's so cool. And I've seen it in person. I went to WrestleMania 27.
Okay, Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yes.
Him and Triple H.
And, at that time, he had a different walkout song. It was Ain't No Grave.
Oh, my God. Yep.
Incredible walkout.
Yep.
And when the lights go out, and like, dude, and that match had my voice go. I'm sitting there as a kid. I'm like, when I saw the tombstone, when Triple H, I was like, oh, it's over. And like, when you're watching it live, bro, them three, I thought it was a three.
Well, tell me.
It's so freaking close.
Yes,
bro,
sir. Yes,
Undertaker
sir.
will have me on the edge of my seat every time he wrestled. And I watched, even when I was in college, if I knew Undertaker, because I ain't gonna lie, when in college I didn't keep up with it as much.
As
But when
everybody does. Yep.
yeah, when Taker would I would see something on Twitter, Undertaker come back. Oh, turn everything down. Watching wrestling, where Undertaker at? I'll watch the whole show to find out he might want to come to the end of the show, but I'm watching Undertaker. So yeah, that's my guy.
Is 27 the only WrestleMania you've been to?
Sadly, yes. I need them to come back to something here, but guess what? I am planning to go next year in Vegas. Reason why? You telling me John Cena's last ever WrestleMania?
Yes,
I gotta be
sir.
there. Gotta be there. Gotta be there. Thank you, Cena. Gotta be there.
We
Gotta
didn't
be.
appreciate him while he was here, but now that
I
he's
know.
leaving,
I know.
I'm guilty too, so I'm not throwing stones.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, it was. It was during the time. I'm gonna tell you this. I don't blame it so much on Cena. I blame it on so much of the era. WWE was becoming mainstream. You know, granted it was already big, but it became super mainstream. So when you're now being on ESPN, when you're now being on these huge networks, you can't do things certain ways.
It was the PG era, yeah.
PG era. So he had to play into it. And let's be honest, Cena with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, with all the extra stuff he was doing on the side.
Oh yeah.
He was the best PG thing they had. So why
yeah.
why wouldn't you have him win every match? Why wouldn't you have him in every big match? Why wouldn't you? Sadly, he was burying everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, Super Cena was burying everybody. And I used to be like, well, who are they gonna win? I'm like, is Cena? You think Cena's gonna lose? That's why I always wanted to see Cena and Undertaker at WrestleMania, but I can understand why Vince didn't want to do that. He was like, I got my money maker. I didn't need that. When I got Taker, who always is going to be a huge money maker, that's the reason why Taker and Cena will always be on different brand shows. Taker on SmackDown, Cena on Raw. Or whenever there was a different time, Taker be on Raw, Cena on SmackDown. So, you never needed them two together, along with Triple H, along with Orton, along with Jeff Hardy. You have Edge and all those guys, but I feel like at that time, them two was the two main guys, and you could probably say Batista was in the source for that as well. So you had a few main attraction guys, but nobody was taking over Cena.
Man, I could sit here and talk wrestling with you for hours because I can make you jealous, brother. I've been to I was at Mania 24 when Undertaker headlined against Edge. I was at 27, which was not good in retrespect.
No,
I was at 28 for the end of an era Hell in a Cell match.
Gotta get to see Rock and Cena live.
I was at 29.
Chris Jericho and CM Punk.
Yep.
Man, Undertaker, CM Punk at WrestleMania 29. Cena.
And then I was at 30, so I got to watch the streak end. I'm telling you, I was single. Boy, I went on a run. I went to 24, 27, 28, 29, 30. Then I missed 31 because it was in California, 32 in Dallas, 33 in Orlando, and then I got a girlfriend and had to act like an adult. So I haven't been back since.
You have went, bro. What a life.
Man.
That's literally going to be my plans now.
I got the credit card debt to show it too, though. That's the problem.
I bet them tickets ain't no joke. Especially these ones for Vegas. I got to figure out which day Cena. I feel like they're going to have Cena on day, it's got to be day 1. There's no way they make him day 2.
Yeah, because the WWE title's got to close the show. But Cena's also got to close the show, so I'd say it's a safe bet. He probably closes night 1.
Yeah, I think it's day 1. Yes, night 1. Yeah. So we'll see.
But I'm going to put you on the spot. You're a WWE man. Mount Rushmore. Hit me. What do you got?
So I have to go 1 because he is what he is. Hulk Hogan. He's the one that first started it out, put it on the mainstream. I know a lot of people don't like some of the things he's done on the outside, but as a wrestler, dude, he's got to be on the Mount Rushmore. No ifs, ands, or buts. Next, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin took what Hogan did and took it to a whole nother level. Gotta respect it, man. It's different. Now, the problem with Mount Rushmore is this gets hard because it's depending on what you're doing. So I easily can say Ric Flair, Cena, Rock, Taker. I feel like I have to have those guys. But like Ric Flair, he has to be on that Mount Rushmore. I mean, look at what he's done. And
Yeah,
then I would go. I mean, I would say Rock. I mean, Rock is generational, but Rock within the wrestling business, Rock didn't stay there as long as Cena. So
correct.
I'm gonna have to go Cena. So I'll have Hogan, Stone Cold, Flair, Cena.
I like that. That is a respectable Mount Rushmore. I could definitely get behind that. Obvious left off is like Taker,
Hello?
but he's your personal favorite, so he's always going to be there. Then you got to leave Brett off. You got to leave Shawn off. I mean, like you said, it's so hard, so incredibly hard. But man, that's
Yeah.
I like to tell you, I can sit here and talk wrestling for hours with you, man. So what's your bold prediction for SummerSlam? Do we have anything crazy happen?
Why do I feel like CM Punk's not gonna win?
I
Like,
feel the exact
I don't know.
same
Like
way.
I'm 50-50 on CM Punk winning this match. So I'm gonna say CM Punk loses. First match back.
Wow. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but man, Drew is red hot.
Oh my
Red
goodness.
hot. So we got to wrap up with the question I love to ask everybody. Like we've talked about the trials and tribulations and the sacrifices you've made. We've talked about the fun stuff. When you get down to it, the meat and potatoes of it, what does success mean to you? Is it working for the UFC? Is it working for a big company, fighting for a big company? Is it making just enough to pay your bills and live comfortably? What does success mean to you?
Well, success means to me is one, making sure that my soul is right with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, making sure I'm good in that area. So always doing the right thing. And two, like success is subjective. I feel like that depends on whatever a person's doing. I've been blessed to be able to fight in this life, but my success is continuing to do things to prove yourself right. And I feel like I'm always going to be like chasing that until the day I die. So I don't know when is that success is going to be done for me because I'm competitive. I'm always going to be chasing that. Yes, making it to the UFC, that's awesome, but I don't want to do just make it to the UFC. I want to win a world title. I want to be ranked. I want to win a lot of fights. I want to win money. Get a bit of money. But that still wouldn't be deemed success to me because that's just in one aspect of life. That's in my athletic career of life. There's other things I want to do that be deemed as success. I want to start businesses, create things, and help other people in their lives, So that's the success that I feel. But the success of, only fighting and, only looking at it from one perspective, that does have my full undivided attention though. This is my main thing, and this is all I'm looking forward to right now is fighting. But in the end goal, that's not where my success would be deemed as. My success is getting towards the end of my life and saying, turning around, it's like, man, I've been blessed by God, and I wouldn't change a single bit of it. That's where I feel like I see success. And I've been blessed already, man. And anything else is cherry on top. So I'm really excited for the opportunity, and I can't wait.
Of course, my camera dies right here at the end.
You're good.
Where can people get at you, Torrez? Where can people get at you on social media if they want to holler at you? Something like that.
Yes, you can get at me at punishertorres@gmail.com. You can get at me on Facebook, Torrez Finney Jr. You can get at me on Snapchat, Punisher Torrez, Twitter, Punisher Torrez. Everything just gonna be about Punisher Torrez. So you can about see that everywhere. And also in my Instagram bio, you can go to my link tree and figure out everything that I have there, and boom, you'll see it. So everything will be there. All my social medias, you'll see it. Hit me up.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much for your time, brother. And like I said, I know from me and all the people that are watching, you are such a likable guy.
Thank you.
We just wish you the best of luck August 20th, man. I really hope, the dream comes true this time around, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Jared.